Hi guys, it's Darren here from deepblueapps.com and deepbluemarket.com. We're going to make a game. It's a pretty simple game, but it's going to be quite addictive, and it's going to be I'm going to go slow so you'll be able to follow on really easy. Now, I've not actually opened GameSalad for about 3 months because I've been on with different engines and different projects, but so you might have to bear with me at times. The first thing we want to do is we're going to import some images and desktop, and I've put them in a folder called SpaceGame. So we're going to scroll down and just going to import these 5 images there. Just going to grab the rocket because this is the first thing we're going to be working on, and I'm just going to select the rocket from the images folder here, drag it in, and a little test to see how big it is on the scene. Yeah, that kind of works. A little bit small. We can then double click on the actor, change its size. Let's go 48 by 48. You see that looks a little bit better there. I'm going to change its collision to a circle. You can see here, if we select the actor in the scene, a circle will just make the collision area a little bit better. It'll sort of cut the corners out, so give you a little bit better chance of surviving. So I'm going to go into physics and collision shape, circle. Now I'm going to make a boolean which is automatically selected. So just again guys, attributes here in the middle at the top. I'm going to make a boolean. I'm just going to call this game over, and we're going to leave it to false. Double click on the actor, we'll create a rule. Now when game over is true, which it will be when we hit some planets, the idea of the game is to fly your little spaceship around avoiding planets, and the planets are going to get more and more and more planets, so it's going to get harder and harder. We might have some stars to collect for a score. But if you run into a planet or go outside the scene, then it's going to be game over. So we're going to say if attribute game over is false, then we're going to come down here to move, drag that in there. Direction we're going to leave that the same relative to the actor, and speed 300. Now for this game we want to make another attribute. We'll make it an integer, and we'll just enable this one, game speed. Now we can do this because if we ever want to change the game speed, if we want to make the game faster over time, we need a game attribute, and this game speed is set to 100. So we'll go back to actors where it says speed here, it's currently set to 300. We'll come down, find the game speed. So that's going to move the actor, and you can see there the actor moving along quite nicely. Now I'm going to just create a rule, drag it in here just underneath the move. You can see here we're making an attribute game mouse position X is less than. Now we're working on iPad size, so it's 1024. Then we're going to do less than 512. So basically when the mouse is in the left hand side of the screen, we want the spaceship to turn anti-clockwise. So we're just going to put a rotate in here. Counterclockwise, speed, so we can probably try and use the game speed for that as well. And we can just do an otherwise here. will rotate clockwise. There's no need to do another rule if mouse position X is bigger or equal to 512. We'll just put anotherwise and then just click, drag that down, and we'll put clockwise there. So basically when the mouse is in this area, rotate there. When it's in the left, rotate there. And obviously you're going to be touching the screen. So you can see now we've got the ship rotating. Not sure it's going to be enough. I want a little bit more rotation on that. So I might just quickly edit this here. Game speed times 2. And we'll do game speed shift number 8 key times 2. And we'll just again just test that out. But yeah, that looks a little bit better. Although we can't actually leave it going in the same direction, we have to go left or right. So I'm going to do wrap this in a rule. So I'm going to select this, and we're going to the mouse button is down. So basically, it'll only work when the mouse is down. So I'm pressing down now, and there you go. That's perfect. That's looking good, guys. So we touch the left hand side of the screen, it'll go anti-clockwise. Right hand side of the screen, it'll go clockwise. And now we need to sort out some hazards. So that's the spaceship sorted, but I prefer to make some self integers, and we're just going to call those start X. We'll make another one, start Y, and we'll make another one. It doesn't really matter. This is the rotation. And now we want to save these. We want to change these start X, start Y. We can leave the rotation as it is. So when the game initially starts, we're going to change attribute, object rocket, start X to object rocket position X. So basically wherever we put this on the scene initially to start with, it's going to change that self attribute start X and Y to the rocket's X and Y position. And then, so basically if we put this in the middle to start with, anywhere around the middle of the scene, when we've crashed and restart, we're going to want to restart the ship in the middle of the scene and facing to the right. So when game over is false, which it will be because we're going to have a button in this scene, when you crash there's going to be another actor appears, and when we touch that actor then it's going to change the game over to false. So what we do here is just drag a couple of change attributes. We'll need 3 altogether because now we need one for the angle. So we're going to change the X position to the start X, the Y position to the rocket's start Y, and we're just going to simply change object rotation to 0. You see, we didn't need this here. We can delete that now, the rotation one, because in here we can just change its self rotation to 0. And that's pretty much it for the rocket. So basically we're going to be flying around, we're going to get some hazards. If we hit a hazard, then it's going to say game over. So let's just go back to the images. Now where's the game over? That's the game over one there. We'll drag that one up. Again, we'll drag it in here. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do nicely. So we're going to create a rule. If attribute game over is true, Now we're going to change the position here of the game over. Object game over, position Y to 386, let's say. And then we're going to go otherwise, change attribute, self position Y to minus 200. And then we're going to come in here, if touch is pressed, change attribute, game over, oops, to false. So basically this is going to be hidden off the screen. Game over is going to be false to start with, so it's going to change its Y position to minus 200. If game over is true, it's going to change its position to 386, so it makes it visible in the scene. But then if we touch it, then game over is false, which will automatically change its position back to minus 200. So we're going to drag that actor in the scene there, double click on the actor, position 512 minus 200. And now we're going to start, actually let's put the background in. We'll put the background in, but we want this on a different layer. So we can go to scene, layers and plus. Now this background layer's got my hero in, so I'll put hero in that one. Doesn't matter about the scrollable on or off, it's actually a single scene game, so you could turn those off, but it doesn't matter if you leave them on. And then we'll rename this, and we'll just call it background. So now we've got layers set up. Now this background here, if we're on this one, select the background layer here, go back to the game, drag the background in. We can make it a little bit bigger. In fact, looks like GameSalad's crashed on us. No, it's not. Let's make it 1024 by 768, which should be the iPad size. We'll just do a file save while we're here, just in case it does crash. And we'll call it SpaceGame. It's always a good idea to save your work at regular intervals, and we'll just try and position this background in place here. Doesn't really matter. So it's 512 in the X and 386, 384, sorry. So that's put the background in position. Now if you go to your layers, you'll see the background is in position in a different layer, and the hero and the object game over is in the top layer. So now we're going to make some hazards. Let's just drag this in and see how, yeah, that's not a bad size, that actually. And drag a couple of those in the scene to start with. And we're going to be spawning more of these obstacles at random places in the scene. Now when the spaceship hits these, it's going to be game over. So we need to go back into the spaceship. Now we're going to have quite a lot of these planets, so instead of doing rules for all these actors, we're just going to do one for the spaceship. But if we wanted different types of planets, then the best thing to do is go to Home, Actors, and we'll make a tag. And we'll just call this, let's just call it hazards. And then we go to all at the top here, click on Object Planet, and we'll drag that in there. Now that's made a tag. So basically if we want more actors, more planets, we can just click, drag, and this will be in automatically added to the tag. You can see here we've also got that in with the tag. We'll just delete that for now, and then we'll go in to the object rocket. We'll create another rule and we'll say if overlaps or collides with tag hazards, change attribute game, let's move that up a bit so you can see it, game over to true. You have to type true in. One thing we should do is just change the planet's collision to a circle. So the bounding box is now a circle instead of a square. If we left it at a square and the spaceship hit the top right corner, say here for example, then it would signal death, so we don't want that. We'll just do a file save and we'll just press play to test it. So you can see we're flying around, and if we hit, boom, it's game over. The game over comes up. Now when we press this game over, it should reset the ship back to the middle, set its angle back facing to the right, and away we go again. We'll just test it by hitting this planet, boom, and game over pops up. Press the game over, and away we go again. And it seems to be working fine. Just go back though. A little bit boring at the moment, the game, so we need to think of something to make it a little bit better. And I think we could add some more planets to make it harder. We could also increase the rocket speed over time. So I'm going to make a new actor here. I'm going to call this one controller. Now I always make my controllers pink, I don't know why. We'll change the size, I don't want 100, 32 to 32. And while we're in here, because this actor's not moving, we'll take the movable off. It's always a good idea. And as a rule, I normally set the density, friction and bounciness down to 0 as well. I'll just do a file save. Go into the scene, layers, background, and I'll drag this controller actor here. While we're at it, the game over. Physics, we'll change these to 0, 0, 0, and we'll turn movable off. Like I said, it's always a good idea to uncheck the movable. If you want to set them to 0 or not, don't really matter. It's just a habit I've got into. And again, the background doesn't move, so we'll do a 0, 0, 0, and we'll turn that off as well. So yeah, in the controller actor, create a rule. If attribute game over is false, which it will be at the start of the game, the very first time you play the game, and also if you crash and press the game over button, then we're going to change attribute game speed to 100, and then we're going to make the ship go faster over time. So we're going to drag a timer in here. Let's try every 1 second, run to completion, change attribute game speed to game speed plus 10. Now this is going to go pretty fast, pretty quick. So basically when you restart your game, it's going to change the game speed back to 100, which if you have a look at the game attributes, just do a quick file save, 100 is the default setting. Excuse me. And then every second it's going to change the game speed to game speed plus 10. So you can see the ship should get faster and faster. And because we've got the rotation set to game speed times 2, you can see the ship's rotating nicely as well. And it's going to get harder and harder and harder and harder and harder until eventually you'll crash. And when we reset, you can see the ship has been reset to 100, but 10 is a bit of an overkill. So we'll just do game speed to game speed plus 1. But you can change this to suit. You can try 2 or whatever number you want. But it is going to get faster and faster every second. It's going to increase the speed by 1, which initially makes the game harder and harder the longer you survive. But we're going to want some planets. Now I'm thinking, if I just spawn a planet, I don't want it just to spawn on top of the ship, because I'm going to be spawning some planets probably every few seconds. I'm going to be spawning a planet, but if I spawn it at random X and Y on the scene and it just happens to land on the ship, the player is not going to be very happy at all and he's going to be a little bit upset. So we need to make sure when we spawn a planet, it can't kill the ship instantly. Even if it lands right on top of it, it won't instantly die. So we need to give the player enough time to get out of the way. Now I'm thinking of creating a dummy planet here that gets spawned. Let's just go to images again. What's the size of this one? 54 by 54. So I'm going to make this 4 by 4. And then I'm going to interpolate object size width to 54. Let's do this over 2 seconds. I'm just going to Alt, left click drag. I'm going to do the same with the size and the height. And then we're going to create a rule here because we want to replace this planet with the original planet. And we're going to say when attribute object planet size width is bigger than 53, spawn actor, actually we want to be able to destroy the spawned actors, so we're going to have to make, so we'll call this one dummy. We'll just make sure that that's not in the tag with the hazards, because we don't want the player to die when the dummy actor is spawned, which it's not. We'll click and drag object planet, and we'll call this one planet 2. We'll rename this one planet 1. So object planet 1 is these three here. Object planet 2, we're going to get the dummy actor to spawn when it reaches a certain size. So we're going to go down here to spawn actor, planet 2, and then we're simply going to destroy, go back up here, find the destroy and drag it in. So basically this is going to appear really small. It's going to increase its size to 54. When it does that, we're going to spawn the second planet and we're going to destroy the actor. Now because we copied, Alt left click drag for planet 2, if you go to home actors, then you can already see it's already got the actor tag there, hazard. and as a spaceship is colliding with everything with an actor tag hazard, we scroll down here, overlaps or collides with actor with tag hazards, game over is true. Now we're going to need a spawner actor, but we can actually use this controller here because it's off the scene. Just go into the controller actor. Game over is false. Every 1 second we're changing the speed. We'll have another timer here, and this is going to spawn the planets. So what do you reckon, guys? Every 2 seconds run to completion. Spawn actor. Planet 2. Zero. I'm going to do a random here because we want the planet to appear at a random position. 0, 1024, and in the Y, I'm going to come down here, find random, and we're going to do 0, 768. So every 2 seconds it's going to spawn, sorry, we want to spawn the dummy. I'm getting confused here. We want to spawn the dummy actor, which will increase in size, and then spawn the planet 2. So we're randomising left to right, 0 to 1024, which is the scene size in the X, and random 0 to 768, which is the scene size in the Y. So we're just going to test this, but first of all we need to destroy this planet. So the dummy actor is going to get spawned every 2 seconds at a random position, and then it's going to spawn object planet 2. However, when game is over, we want to destroy planet 2. So we've got that spinning wheel, which we get quite a lot with GameSalad, but I am using a video editing software, so it might be that. Taking a while. There we go. We'll just do another file save. So planet 2, we need to put a rule in here because when game over is true, we want to destroy it. So if attribute game over is true, what we'll do actually, we'll just do a destroy for now, but you could tinker with this code just to make it more sort of aesthetically pleasing. You can actually reduce the size of the planet and then destroy it if it gets to a certain size. But we're just going to quickly test this now. Oh, we've got another planet, and you notice it didn't kill us. It gave us a little bit of time to get out of the way. However, if we now run into that planet that got spawned, like so, it'll signal a game over, and it'll just give us the 3 original planets we started with. However, you can see game over is now false, so it's started to spawn more and more planets, which means it's going to get a little bit harder. You're going to have less space to move your spaceship around. Whoa! And it's just going to get harder and harder and harder and harder. And you can also put some stars in here that randomly appear. You could also add some points for the player. You can save and load your top score. Oh, press the wrong one. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for now. I think the first video we've learnt how to add images to actors, how to tag actors, so you don't have to make loads of different collision rules. We've learnt how to move an actor. We've learnt how to signal game over and resetting everything. We've also learnt how to make games more difficult by having the ship go faster over time and having more planets on the scene. So I think for a start of our new game, it's a pretty good start, and you can see the power of GameSalad. That only took, I don't know what it was, probably half an hour, is it? And obviously I've been chatting away, and it's working really nice. When a new planet spawns, and it spawns right on top of you, it won't kill you straight away. It'll give you a chance to get out of the way, so it grows every 2 seconds, and then spawns another planet which will kill you. So yeah, I think that's a nice start to a game. Obviously you can add a score, top score, add some stars scattered around to collect. You could even have some fuel. You can have your fuel running out, and you need to collect some fuel to carry on, unless you run out of fuel. But yeah, I think for a little demo there of how to use GameSalad, I think we've created a fun little game that's got scope to be improved upon. You've also learnt how to use layers, so things appear in the right order. And if you ever want to put anything in that layer, so say you had some different planets you wanted to start with, if you click on an actor that's already in the correct layer, then you'll notice it goes to the correct layer. So for example, if you had some twinkling stars you wanted to put in the background layer behind the planets and the ship, you just select the background, go back into game, and then just drag your actors on, and they will automatically be added to the background layer. So yeah, I think we've done well, guys. This is Darren from deepblueapps.com. I'm going to sign out, and I hope you had fun starting to make a little game. Bye for now, guys.